In the next few days, he learned to know them by names. The badger was called Truffle Hunter. He was the oldest and kindest of the three. The dwarf who had wanted to kill Caspian was a sour black dwarf. That is, his hair and beard were black and thick and hard like horsehair. His name was Knickerbrick. The other dwarf was a red dwarf with hair rather like a fox's, and he was called Trumpkin. "And now," said Knickerbrick on the first evening when Caspian was well enough to sit up and talk, "we still have to decide what to do with this human. You two think you've done it a great kindness by not letting me kill it. But I suppose the upshot is that we have to keep it a prisoner for life. I'm certainly not going to let it go alive to go back to its own kind and betray us all." "Bulbs and bolsters, Knickerbrick," said Trumpkin. "Why need you talk so unhandsomely? It isn't the creature's fault that it bashed its head against a tree outside our hole, and I don't think it looks like a traitor." "I say," said Caspian, "you haven't yet found out whether I want to go back. I don't. I want to stay with you, if you'll let me. I've been looking for people like you all of my life." "That's a likely story," growled Knickerbrick. "You're a Telmarine and a human, aren't you? Of course you want to go back to your own kind." "Well, even if I did, I couldn't," said Caspian. "I was flying for my life when I had my accident. The king wants to kill me. If you'd killed me, you'd have done the very thing to please him." "Well now," said Truffle Hunter, "you don't say so." "Eh?" said Trumpkin. "What's that? What have you been doing, human, to fall foul of Miraz at your age?" "He's my uncle," began Caspian, when Knickerbrick jumped up with his hand on his dagger. "There you are," he cried, "not only a Telmarine, but close kin and heir to our greatest enemy. Are you still mad enough to let this creature live?" He would have stabbed Caspian there and then if the badger and Trumpkin had not got in the way and forced him back to his seat and held him down. "Now, once and for all, Knickerbrick," said Trumpkin, "will you contain yourself, or must Truffle Hunter and I sit you on your head?" Knickerbrick sulkily promised to behave, and the other two asked Caspian to tell his whole story. When he had done so, there was a moment's silence. "This is the queerest thing I ever heard," said Trumpkin. "I don't like it," said Knickerbrick. "I don't know there were stories about us still told among the humans. The less they know about us, the better. That old nurse now, she'd better have held her tongue, and it's all mixed up with that tutor, a renegade dwarf. I hate 'em. I hate 'em worse than the humans. You mark my words, no good will come of it." "Don't you go talking about things that you don't understand, Knickerbrick," said Truffle Hunter. "You dwarfs are as forgetful and changeable as the humans themselves. I'm a beast, I am, and a badger, what's more. We don't change, we hold on. I say great good will come of it. This is a true king of Narnia we've got here, a true king, coming back to true Narnia. And we beasts remember, even if dwarfs forget, that Narnia was never right except when a son of Adam was king." "Whistles and whirligigs, Truffle Hunter," said Trumpkin. "You don't mean you want to give the country to humans?" "I said nothing about that," answered the badger. "It's not men's country. Who should know that better than me? But it's a country for a man to be king of. We badgers have long enough memories to know that." "Why, bless us all, wasn't the High King Peter a man?" "Do you believe all those old stories?" asked Trumpkin. "I tell you, we don't change, we beasts," said Truffle Hunter. "We don't forget. I believe in the High King Peter and the rest that reigned at Cair Paravel as firmly as I believe in Aslan himself." "As firmly as that, I dare say," said Trumpkin. "But who believes in Aslan nowadays?" "I do," said Caspian, "and if I hadn't believed in him before, I would now. Back there among the humans, the people who laughed at Aslan would have laughed at stories about talking beasts and dwarfs. Sometimes I did wonder if there really was such a person as Aslan, but then sometimes I wondered if there were really people like you. Yet there you are." "That's right," said Truffle Hunter. "You're right, King Caspian, and as long as you will be true to old Narnia, you shall be my king, whatever they say. Long life to your majesty." "Oh, you make me sick, badger," growled Knickerbrick. The High King Peter and the rest may have been men, but they were a different sort of men. This is one of the cursed Telmarines. He has hunted beasts for sport. Haven't you now?" he added, rounding suddenly on Caspian. "Well, to tell you the truth, I have," said Caspian, "but they weren't talking beasts." "It's all the same thing," said Knickerbrick. "No, no, no," said Truffle Hunter. "You know it isn't. You know very well that the beasts in Narnia nowadays are different, and are no more than the poor, dumb, witless creatures you'd find in Calaman or Telmar. They're smaller too. They're far more different from us than the half-dwarves are from you." There was a great deal more talk, but it all ended with the agreement that Caspian should stay, and even the promise that, as soon as he was able to go out, he should be taken to see what Trumpkin called the others, for apparently in these wild parts all sorts of creatures from the old days of Narnia still lived in hiding.